Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sang, and I am an Altaholik. Today I want to talk about how to start your own EQEMU server for you to use locally. First thing you want to do is go ahead and download VirtualBox. If you're going to do this on your same computer or a computer next to you in another room, and you want to run the VM, you can do that. So download VirtualBox. Then you want to go to, close that out. Then you want to go to search for Ubuntu server so you don't get a whole runaround. Search here, Ubuntu server. Then you're going to download Ubuntu 24.04. Don't download this one. Make sure you stay at this top one. If you prefer to have a graphical user interface, you can use the desktop version. This is just regular Ubuntu desktop, but I recommend not using that because it'll be heavier on resources. Other thing you would need is if you're going to use this on a second computer, a physical computer, not a VM, I recommend using Ventoy. And you download this. When you download it and put it on your computer, you can use it like so. Let me see here. I'm trying to rush because I've been doing this video like for the last 3 hours and I messed up a lot of stuff and it's been a pain in the ass. So Ventoy. You get Ventoy. This is a Linux version, but it'll look something like this on Windows. You come in, you want to execute this file right here, this program. Gotta put the password for it. And yeah, you'll choose a USB drive. You're gonna go ahead and install it. Then after that, once you download your Ubuntu ISO, you just drag and drop it into your, it'll say Ventoy over here for your USB drive. Just put that over there in the USB drive and you're good to go. After that, I can't help you too much more other than your physical computer. You gotta know how to boot to your USB drive. Most cases it will be the escape button, F12, F9, or even the delete button. So, and at that point you can choose, you'll be at the boot manager and you can choose what to boot into. You can choose Ventoy, and then you'll choose Ubuntu server. But in the meantime, I'm going to do the install on VirtualBox. So I already did a couple of these, and I got everything got jumbled up. At one point I had the server up and running. The game, I logged into it. I was doing character creation, and I did that behind the scenes. I went to go show you guys it, but for some reason the second time I tried to load in the client, it wouldn't work. So yeah. All right, oh, matter of fact, before we get into this, I can't show you how to do this, but you have to also download ROF Range of Fire client files. I think I use torrent. Yeah. So if you search ROF2 client torrent files, I can't tell you where to go, how to download it, where to look for it or anything. But if you catch what I'm putting down here, yeah, search for this. You can find the location to download those files. You need those locally so you can go ahead and run the game from your computer and connect to your server and play EverQuest locally. All right, so this is a VM I just made right now. I'll make a new one, matter of fact, just so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so new. And sorry if I'm rushing through this. I've done this so many times, I'm tired of doing it. So I'm trying to hurry up and make this not so wordy and get you guys squared away. Trying to talk and type. All right, name it whatever you want. I'm doing Ubuntu EQEMU. And you go to other, search for your server file, choose your Ubuntu server, open it, and this all should line up by itself. I usually hit skip unattended hardware. We're gonna go 2 gigs of RAM and 2-core CPU. Keep in mind this stuff pulls from your physical computer, so if you don't have the resources, I recommend either using a second computer, or I guess you can lower the specs, but it's gonna be really, really slow. This is very, very minimum specs as it is. So then for the hard drive, I recommend putting at least 40 gigs. I'm gonna do 45. About between 40 and 60. Now, if you're just doing this for you by yourself, you know, nobody else is gonna be on there. I would say about, matter of fact, about 45 is probably solid. Because you don't want any updates or anything to cloud up your space, and then your server won't be able to boot because it's too full of stuff. So for this case, I'm going to do 45. All right. And then before you start it, go to settings again, go to network, change the network from NAT to bridge. That way we can SSH to the server. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start. While that's booting up, let me show you this real quick. Minimize. Pull it down here. All right, we're going to start that up. Now, I had a couple questions before about using PuTTY and basically using SSH on your computer. If you're using Windows or you're using Linux, you can easily just go to, do this real quick, get my computer to work right. Come on, computer. All right. Just terminal. So on the terminal or command line, you should be able to type in SSH, and then my case is going to be 192.168.68. Whatever the last octet of my VM will be, and it should come up. During the boot process for Ubuntu server, you have an option to install OpenSSH. So you won't have to worry about installing something specifically on Ubuntu and on your computer. I believe Windows, but Evie did this the other day and it worked just fine on Windows. And obviously on Linux, I'm doing it from the command line. So you don't really need PuTTY. So, all right. So back to the VM. It's asking what language you're doing for the keyboard and what you're reading in. English for me. Now here where it says you want Ubuntu server minimize, I would say with Ubuntu server because it'd be less headache. Because the minimize is smaller, but you have to constantly go through and download a lot of different things. So we'll skip that. I always use search for third-party drivers because depending on your hardware, if you're doing it physically on physical hardware, you want to make sure you have the drivers for USB or Ethernet port or whatever else that might be on a computer. In my case, later on, I'm going to install it onto this mini computer here. Hope you guys can see that. My camera. Basically, I'm installing in this. It's a little throwaway computer I have. It's only 2 gigs of RAM and 2-core CPU. So I don't know what kind of drivers it needs, but Linux is good for getting the drivers and just detecting and getting what it needs. But if you're doing a VM, I would get it regardless, just in case if there might be something that comes up that it doesn't understand as far as VM goes. So I'm using arrows to move up and down. There's no mouse and keyboard or no mouse for this part. So all right, after that, hit done. It's saying, hey, this is your IP address, 192.126. Remember the IP address. Or yours is not going to be like mine, but mine is 192.168.124/24. Don't worry about that part. Just remember the 126 part. Proxy address. Don't worry about that. Now it's going to look for a good mirror connection to get updates and downloads and stuff like that, so it won't be taking forever to download stuff. Now, depending on your internet connection, it should go really fast. I don't have to sit here and watch this. I just wanted to let you know what they're doing there. So hit done. All right, now here is confirming. Say, hey, this is where you wanted at. You wanted this location. It's pointing out the obviously the VirtualBox hard drive that we made earlier, the 45 gigs, and it's saying it's going to set it with LVM. Accepted this as an LVM group. I don't care. That's fine. All right, hit done. This is showing everything we set for it. All the parts it's just going to do. If you want to change something, go ahead and change it now. I recommend don't change anything unless you know exactly what you're doing. So at this point, hit done. And it says, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I am. Continue. Now, put in your name, whatever name you want to name yourself as a user on this server. Your server's name, and I'm going to make it EQEMU. I'm going to make it tester. No, fuck it. EQEMU. Let's call it EQEMU for now. All right. And my name, this will be my login name and my password. So make yours whatever you want. Ask for your name, but it's just, I guess, like your official name, and then your username, and then your server name, and it's ask for your password that you are making for your server. All right, and it's asking if you want to use Ubuntu Pro. Don't worry about that. You can skip that. Continue. Now, here's the important part. You want to make sure you use your pointer here and get up there to where where it says install OpenSSH server. We need that. That's how we're going to SSH from our physical computer to our VM. And also if you're using an external computer, same thing. Yeah, let's say it's going to install the third-party stuff. That's fine. Now here I like to choose, when I do this Docker, it'll install Docker for me. Choose stable. But there's a part where you had to add yourself as a user to the permissions list, or give Docker permissions to work correctly. So that's a little pain in the ass, but it saves you a trip of having to download Docker later on. All right, so this is going to take a minute, usually about 5 to 10 minutes. It's installing at the bottom under where it says view full log. Underneath that, I will say reboot. That's when you know it's completed. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the install finish. Use the arrow keys. Scroll down to it says reboot now. Now what I like to do is go back to my VirtualBox while I was doing. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. And here it says, hey, pull out the ISO, which is the emulated CD drive. In this case, press enter. And now what I like to do is go to VirtualBox. I always like to check in here just in case. Go to storage. Make sure that the drive is empty right here. It's like your virtual disk. It's a disk that had Ubuntu on it. So minimize this. Let this boot up. All right, it's gonna come up like that. It's gonna do a little bit of booting. It's gonna freeze for a second. Not freeze, because ideally Ubuntu server runs by itself and you can remote to it, so you won't see. Sometimes you will see a login prompt, sometimes you won't. So just give it a couple of seconds here, let it do its thing. And if you don't do anything after a while, if it doesn't do anything after a while, just press enter, and you're good to go. All right, so it did that thing I was talking about. I guess after it shows SSH key, let's go ahead and press enter. You're in. Type in your username that you created. So mine's saying, and my password. Now we're logged into the server. If you look up where it shows the system memory swap and all that stuff like that, you'll see the IP address there. 192.168.168.126. That's the IP address for my server. Now for you, it might be a different one. So just be aware of that. Okay, so from here, I'll move this window. This is my VM window, so I'm moving this out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my terminal. Remember where I started typing earlier. So if you're on Windows, command line or command prompt, and on Linux, you can pull up terminal. And I'm going to, what was it, 126, right? So 126 SSH 192.168.68.126. Press enter. It says, hey, I see it. You know, do you feel comfortable with this? It's your machine. You trust it? Yes. It's going to add like a fingerprint, which is basically like a security feature on your computer saying you trust the system. So type in yes. This is on Linux. I'm not sure how Windows will do. On this side, or now I'm connected to it. It asks for the login for saying on my VM. So put in my password. Now I am SSH to it. So basically, this is on my physical computer, and this is my VM. So I won't see nothing change on here because I'm doing everything through the terminal on my physical computer. So I basically remoted into my VM, and I'm doing the work here. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can copy stuff on my physical computer web browser and put it in here instead of typing in all the commands. Additionally, I didn't mention this earlier. I would suggest open up a ChatGPT, an AI program, just to help you out in case you get stuck. Something I might not cover, and you'll see I'm going to use this too because I always forget the commands. I'm not really good with the terminal commands when it comes to Linux. So this helps me out a lot. If I can't find it on the internet, this usually helps me out. But don't solely depend on ChatGPT, because even though you can explain, I like Copilot because Copilot is up to date to, I think, the last couple of days normally. But sometimes ChatGPT would be like, yeah, just do this, and it ignores what you're trying to do or what operating system you're on. It does make mistakes. So don't fully go into ChatGPT thinking it's going to help you set up the EQEMU server. All right. So I want to make sure Docker and Compose are installed. Now, one of the things I like to check here, because remember we installed it earlier. I'm going to run this command here, Docker Compose. This is going to see, it's going to check and see if we have it installed, and it's going to say the version that we have. So go ahead and paste that in your terminal, enter, and it does have Docker Compose installed. Also, I would say do install make. So we're going to do apt install make. And you know what? Let me make this a little bit bigger so you see it. Permission, yeah, sudo make or sudo apt install make. That's my password. We're going to need this later on, so I just try to install it now. All right, so make is installed. All right, now we'll start going through the steps, and I'll have the links for these locations in my in the description of the video. All right, so now install Xstack. This is going to give us the basically the foundation of how we start installing EQEMU server. So all I did is hit the box next to the command right here, and I pasted it in my terminal. And you want it to be similar to what they have listed here. And for me, it looks like it is there. All right, now we'll scroll down. Now we're going to do next command is make int reset environment. I believe this should work okay. And you're at this point, you should be in your Xstack directory. So it should say your username, name of your server, and an Xstack and the $sign there. All right, and it says everything that's there. Basically the same thing. All right, now scroll down to this part. Again, we're going to copy this. Now the different part is, don't press enter yet. You're going to paste. And that IP address that's there at the end of that command is their IP address. We want for our IP address, we're doing this locally. So remember earlier, 2.168.68, what was it, 126.6? You're going to put in your IP address there because we're doing this locally. So we want everything to connect directly to wherever our server is at. So in this case, I'm doing it on this computer and it's going to the VM. If you have another computer external and the IP address over there, you want to point to that IP address. All right, and you want your command to look similar to this. Scroll down and we're going to do make install. Now I believe this is the part where I need to add permissions for Docker, but let's try it real quick. Hey everybody, this is post-recording saying the make install part was a little complicated to explain. I was figuring it out on the go, so I didn't include the footage here. I don't want to confuse anybody. When you put in the make install command and it gives you a hard time, what I did with this, copy the error I was getting, put it in Copilot, and Copilot gave me the responses that I need in order to fix my permissions. And basically the issue was that I needed permissions for my user saying, and I needed permission for Docker. And then I did the hello world test. I don't fully understand it, so I couldn't get all the commands and listen to you guys. I'm sorry if that's a little snag for you guys, but use ChatGPT. Maybe somebody in the comments, if you know exactly what commands to put in, please relay that to everybody so they can see it. I'll pin it on the top of the comments so everybody can see it. I'm sorry, it's kind of a half-assed answer. I wish I had a better response for you, but that's why I said use AI to help you out a little bit. All right. So now that part's done. Now we should be able to run make install. This is going to do its magic. This is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the internet connection. I think the last time I did it, I got it done about 5 minutes, but typically it's about 10 to 15 minutes. I got pretty fast internet though. So I'll be right back. All right, and matter of fact, while I was doing this, you're going to see a part where it stops and it's going to seem like it's frozen, but it's not. Just let it sit for a minute. When it's done, you'll be back at the command prompt like you were earlier. All right, be back. Okay, so we're done installing the EQEMU server. At this point now, it's up to you, but I like to go down here. This is new steps I found. Well, one, to start the server, you use make up and make down to bring the server down. But you do have the option here to install bots and install mercenaries. I'm going to enable both of these. So, matter of fact, I'm only going to disable mercenaries. Later on, I can come back and install bots if I want to. So, if it comes down to these commands, don't copy the whole entire thing. What you're going to do is from Is it big enough for you? That's pretty big. Okay. So from the stack directory, you're going to go ahead and do make bash. This first command right here. So make bash, and then we're going to do cd server, change directory to server. If you type ls, it should show server there. So we're going to do cd server. Now we're in the server directory. We're going to run this command here. bin/world mercs, or in this case, if you guys are doing bots, it'll be bots. But I'm doing mercs. So copy. I'm going to paste it over here. And I want the outcome to be somewhat similar to this. As long as there's no errors here. All right, and they're enabled. That's it. And from here, you would type exit, I believe. Yeah, now you're back there. Okay, so here we will stop. If you're on a VM, if you have your server running on a VM, I recommend that you clone it so you have a backup in case you do some command and mess up something or update messes it up. I like to have a copy of my VM just in case. So what I'm going to do is sudo power off, put your password. This is going to turn off your server. And you're going to disconnect from SSH. And this is my local terminal. So right here, start writing where it is. Yeah, there it is. This is the server shutting down. All right, now shut down. Now in VirtualBox, you just right click it, hit clone. This will make a copy of everything you've already done on your server. So I'm gonna make this clone 1 just in case. Finish. Just gonna make another copy of my VM. Okay, so the copy is done. Now I'm gonna go back to my original one. So here's my clone. Where you can see right here, clone 1. But I'm gonna use the original one. So I'm going to start it back up. Minimize this. Once it's booted up, I'm going to SSH back to it and we'll get back to work again. I use up arrow and it puts in the last command you put on your terminal. Okay, so it's booted up. Put my password. All right, so now it says saying at EQEMU, that's my server. All right, so I'm back on my VM again. Now from here, we're going to cd, change directory into akk-stack. Now we're back in the stack server, or in the stack directory. And we're going to do make up, make our server boot up. That's actually pretty fast. Really fast. Okay, so now it's all booted up. All you want to see is this. You won't see no errors or anything like that, so everything should be good. One time I did do this, and for some reason my port said 99091 or something like that for EQEMU admin. I don't know why, so I must have did something wrong there. So anyway, you're going to go to this IP address in your web browser. You can copy it or you can type it in. In this case, I just happen to copy. All right, so that's what it looks like. When you go to log in, the credentials are the first name, or the username is going to be admin, and the password is going to be, you can find it here. So you can type back in your terminal, type make info, and right here, EQEMU admin. Admin is the username, and here's the password. I just copy the password. This is part of the reason why you want to have SSH available, because you'll be sitting there trying to put in that long gibberish password and it'll be a pain in the ass. All right, log in, update my password. I've done this a couple of times, that's why it showed up like that. All right, so I went to server admin. Here's my server, it's up and running. All right, so server name, we're gonna change the server name. We're gonna change it EQEMU local server. That's what I'm gonna call it. You can name yours whatever you want. That's what I'm gonna name mine. Short name, I think it's like a descriptive name, but I just put that in there. It works. Save. Network. It already has IP address. Local IP is gonna be the same as your public IP because you don't really need a public IP, and that IP address is actually local anyway. I'm gonna copy that there. Save. I'll say the login server. I don't know if we change all of these or just one of them. Now, I had this working one time, so I don't know. I don't want to mess up anything. All right. This Control V. Save that there. I'm gonna keep that like that. That's what I change. That's login server 3. I'm not worried about 4 and 5. Those are new ones for me. Let's see here. Anything else? I think it's all right. All right, I think we're squared away here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it running and connect to it. So public server and world server, same IP address. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. Power on. Always make sure these are all checked. Update server patches, run shared memory, run UCS, and login server. Don't do the query one. I don't remember why. I just don't do it. I'm not sure what static is for. I think it's the ones that never reset or do anything. They're always up all the time. And I like to change my minimum zones that would be booted up to 3 since it's just me and maybe Evie. So that was less resources being used. So let's start the pretest. It's gonna make sure it can communicate with everything. Everything communicates. Hit start server. We're looking for all these to turn green except for a query. I'm drinking a beer because I've been stressing for the last 5 hours. Gotta relax. Okay, so the server is running. Everything looks good, no errors. All right, so here's another part. Now we're gonna minimize that. Now, by this point, you should also have your RLF2 files downloaded, right? You can download wherever you get them from. I'm not going to point it out. Like I said, I told you on the browser you can search for them. So I got mine here. I'm just going to rename mine for my own reasons. I'll put EQ. Actually, what did I name it in the thing? Local server. All right, so that's what I named mine too. Now, when you go in here, when you go into the directory, you want to look for your host file. You're going to point the host file to your server. So I'm search for host. All right, so EQ host. Change the port to 5999, not 5998. 5999, same IP address, and that will get you logged in. And for us Linux users, we have to create a file here, launch the game. So what I'm going to do is create. I'm just going to copy my one from Wafer Haven. Let me show you this file real quick. So this is a bat file, and if you go to open it, one thing in it is start eqgames.exe patch me, and you can do the exact same thing. Just make sure you save the file as .bat, and it'll be a launcher for you instead of trying to use because you won't have EverQuest .exe in there to use, so you use this as a replacement. So I'm gonna cut it. Pasted it. All right, so that's that. That's installed in there. Everything should work, hopefully, like it should. All right, so now for The rest of us Linux users, there's another part here. I'm using Lutris. You can use whatever you want. There's an old one I tried, so let's remove that. Install. All right, so new. Add local install game. Let me see, EQ. Actually, I'll put Sings EQ. This is the name of my server. Or name of the game that this shortcut will go to. All right, the executable. We're going to choose games. Since local, and executable is going to be that bat file. Okay. If you had this here, it just basically point to the directory where the game's at. Game, hit OK. And then for the runner, I like to stay with wine GE 8-26. I can switch to other ones, but this works just fine for me. If you don't have that, you can always add it by going up here to the little dots here, preferences, go to runners, scroll all the way down to wine, hit the little gear, oops, wrong one, hit the little boxes, and then you're going to install the wine prefix. That's it. So let's give it a test and see if it tests it out real quick. Yeah, see what I mean. All right, so the game boots up. My name's up there because I already tried it once. Enter. There you go. There's my local server. Hit play. A minute ago when I tried this, it kept giving me a login error. I give it a couple of seconds, hit it again. It might be because I have a low spec setup for my VM, so maybe it's just running slower. I don't know. All right, let's see if we can get myself in the world. This is my first test doing this. They have these guys here. There's no mark over it. You can unlock these guys in your database, and I'll show a video on that later. All right, so I like my frog locks. I'm gonna pick Shaman. I don't know if I can mismatch. I don't know if I can unlock other races or other classes, but that'll be something for another day. So random name, and skip the tutorial, and we'll just go in. I want to say last time I did this, there are certain places I think when you unlock the Dragonian people, try to get you to go to the starter zone, you can't go there. Alright, there you go. We are in the game. That's it. I'll say there's nobody here. I didn't change anything on the server, so all this stuff's unlocked for me. Okay. I don't know what they did with the EQEMU server stuff, so all this stuff's being new. I haven't poked around in a while, so yeah, that's it. All right, so go ahead and exit. Oh, matter of fact, let me show you this real quick. I exit out. And on the server, it shows that we're logged in. Shows where we're at, what client we're using. This is my previous try, so that'll clear after a while. So yeah, that's it. I've been fighting with this for a while, and it was all because I had a wrong port unlocked. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit short. I try to be fast. I've been doing this for about 6 hours. Tired of looking at the system. I'll try again tomorrow. But that's how you set up on a VM. You have it local, and if you want to make your changes to your server, go to configuration and go to rules, server rules. Here you can search for stuff, or you can just scroll through. There's a lot of stuff in here. You can change your experience. You can change. I like to change the experience and change the drop from 1-person multiplier to like a 3-person drop multiplier. So if it's a group of 3 people, you get the equivalent of drop for that amount of people playing, basically. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Just poke through here, you find what you want, change things. When you're all done, when you're done with your server, all right, close out my game. When you're done, if this is running on your physical computer or your main computer and you want to run it in the background, and the VM, go ahead and just hit the world button up here, hit power off. You turn off instantly, or you can let it power down, but I just hit instant. You see everything turn off here, and you go back to your terminal. Now keep in mind, this is only for me to set this up. You don't always have to SSH to your server to do it. You can just do it from your server itself. Matter of fact, I'll do that right now. All right, so I'm closing out my local terminal. Here's the VM. And sign into it. I don't want you to think you have to open up a console every time you want to mess with your VM. You can do it in your VM right here. All right, in this case, I need to do CD. Can I do it right here? CD to this one again. I'm going to do make. You have to be in this directory in order to power up the server and power down the server. So make down. Normally it's faster than this, but it's taking a minute now. All right, now your server is down. That's it. And when you're done, you can do sudo power off. And this will power off your system. If you need to reboot it, you can do sudo reboot. Now reboot your system. You gotta put in a password, which is your password you created when you first created the system. Sudo power off, password. And now I'll shut down my server. So that's it. I hope I answered all your questions. Hope this video wasn't too wordy. I'm gonna try to chop it and edit this thing up, so hopefully it's a quick video and it's do this. The only part I got snagged on was the Docker permissions part, but most of it's adding your user to the permission group and adding Docker to the permission group, and from there you should be squared away. So hopefully this made it easy for you guys, not too lengthy. I tried to keep it under like 15 minutes. I didn't want to be a 2-hour long video again. So yeah, enjoy, have fun. I might do a part 2 and the modifications I made and how I did it, and I might do the whole setup for the Maria database, so you can connect to your database for your server. From what I've seen, there's not a lot of features on Spire as far as triggering the holidays and the unlock multiple classes if you want to do that. I don't know how to do that, but I think most of that stuff is done in the Maria database. But as far as triggering holidays and giving yourself a GM ability, that you can see that in my previous video, but I'll do it again for this video. Anyway, I hope this helped out, guys. Take care. See y'all next time. Hey, if you didn't yet like, comment, subscribe. You're watching my videos, not subscribing. What's up with that? Nah, I appreciate if you subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.